Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here, Sunday the 2nd of November 2025. Right, the list is getting quite long between the observations that we sort of picked up in the last video and those reported by Rob, i.e. the main reasons why it's here, because it's not running that well and it's leaking a lot of oil. Plus we found some cosmetics, which are obviously a secondary priority, and then I've started to make a list of where we're gonna start. So the priority is the engine, and that basically boils down to the carbs, the top end, and possibly the barrels and pistons. So that's what we're gonna start getting into. But in the meantime, this has been I've been away for the last couple of weeks or so, so the bike's been stood on here on its main stand for a couple of weeks since the last video, and as we noticed before, it continues to leak a lot of oil, to the extent where we now have a river of it running to the back of the bench and onto the floor. So it's coming out thick and fast. Now, in this video, I was thinking of having another go at starting it, and I've had a chat to Rob. So basically the technique is just open the throttle a bit, tickle it, and it should go. Well, I was sort of doing that really, but I overdid it, I think, with the tickling and flooding it. But it looks to me as though, and I think Rob reported it, that it does sump its oil quite quickly. So I'm not going to start it. I'm going to focus on trying to determine where the oil leaks are. So oil in the sump will probably help that, and we'll just crack on and get stripping it. I mean, what we could do actually is have a quick look in the tank. See how low it is. God, don't black filler caps look bloody awful. Especially when they don't come off. I can't do it one-handed. Give me a sec, I'll bring you back. There we go. When you use your strong hand, it's easy. Nothing on the dipstick. It's there. There is oil in the tank. It's down quite a bit, but there is. It's there. There is some in it, but we'll leave that as is and concentrate on trying to find where this is. So first things first, we'll clean stuff down. We'll get a drip tray under it. Alternatively, we might put some kitchen roll under there to see where it's dripping from, get an indication first, while we start going from the top down and removing some of these items and storing them. Just notice that, look at that. Ouch. Don't think that was me, Rob. Right, let's get on. Right, that's looking a bit cleaner. Now we can set up something underneath the engine so I capture the oil or determine where it's coming from to soak it up. Thank God for that stuff. It's not a promotion, but it works well enough. Right, the other quick observation as well is, while I was messing around here, here we go, bloody typical. I know what that is straight away. That probably are the wires that should go to the front brake light switch on the brake cable, and lo and behold, yeah, the cable that are fitted doesn't Apologies, the phone died. Right, back to where we were. So they've just taped back the wires for the front brake light warning switch. Pretty bloody rough. So we might get a proper cable, Rob, but I'll speak to you about that. Right, so we're all cleaned up. Right, tank off, not undone inside here. The 2 petrol pipes off, 5/8. Get the seat off, side panels off, and then we'll have another look round. Leave it with me while I charge this phone up a bit more. Made for the job. I mean, I thought the tank was mounted a bit too far that way. It could have gone a bit more forward. Anyway, made to fit. Now then, we talked about the fact that there was no air breather pipe on this from the engine breather up to the airbox. Now there should be what's known as a door handle, which goes from here inside to the back, or behind the side panel, up here, behind there, out to here. Now I've got one somewhere, so I'll dig that out. But in the meantime, this mess was put in its place. It's just a bit of rubber tube tie wrapped on. The tube is actually split on the bottom side there. Let me just point it out. Just there, split, and it basically there it is, there's the end of it. Doesn't go anywhere. Why? Don't know. And the other quick additional observation on the other side, more to do with the electrics. It's just, I mean, it works, but why? Just up the top here, we've got another taped off wire, and I think all that wire does, it's a white wire, oh no, red and white, it's red and white. But you can see all it does, is that the one? Oh no, perhaps not. I thought incorrectly. It was that wire, and we could just plug it into that. Now red and white is actually, if it were ever fitted, and it is on the Fury SS, it's the wire that goes to the solenoid for a starter motor, which obviously was never fitted to these, but is on the Fury. So I can see why that's taped off, but I mean, it's just a bit Heath Robinson. In fact, what you can do with these, is just pull and it'll come off, usually. Certainly that one will too. I mean, we'll sort that out. Right, that's about it for now. So next job, well, there's another observation, look. Oil's been seeping out the top of the cap. Next, we'll take the seat off. I must say it's easy to take the seat off when you've got these knurled knobs. It's a bit like Hurricane later on, but not quite the same, because the bracket on the seat, which you see here, is wider than standard. So the bracket comes on the outside of the frame, down between these two washers on each side. With the original seat mounting on the Hurricane mod with knobs, the bracket goes on the inside of the frame and on the inside of the grab rail, just there. And on the Hurricane, the nuts have got tabs welded onto them, so basically they foul then against I think the top of the shocks, so they don't turn when you turn the knob on the outside. But anyway, this works well enough, Rob, that's for sure. Right, so we've got a solid state rectifier, standard flusher unit, no condensers because it's got, there you go, Boyer Bransdern, looks like a new one. I don't like the way the terminals are bent like that, but I presume that's so these terminals don't foul the seat, although I'd have thought there'd have been enough space, so that's something we can check when we put it back. With the battery, I don't know why they put the strap over these wires, and the strap's loose, so that's no good to anybody really. And then the other quick thing for a tidy up at some point is for some reason they've taped the rear light loom to the mudguard instead of using a rubber cable tie to the frame, so we'll sort that out. I've got some black ones, but other than that, I mean, it's pretty tight. It's a brand new loom, and you've got less components than standard. And that little battery is a good battery, should be fine. Devil's that there. Hang on a minute, there's something down there. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether you can see it. Just there, there's a tube of some sort. There you go. What is that? Let's have a route around and find out. That was loose next to the battery, and that's the top end of the engine breather tube to airbox, which would fit on this airbox because that's a Trident one, not one for the Rocket 3 door handle. So maybe at some point there was sort of a mocked up breather that's fallen apart. Quite why that's in with the battery, don't quite know. So the bottom end here is a mess, so, and it's just tie wrapped on. We'll just pull that off and I'll show you. There you go, that was off the bottom end, scrunched up and split. But there you go, the remnants of what probably was a mock-up engine breather tube up to the airbox. There was probably something in between a tube. I've seen people do that before. Let me just go and dig out an original, what they call door handle. I've got one here somewhere. It must be in the rubbers box. Just give me a sec. Right, so there we are. This would have been a Trident one if it was complete, roughly about that length, and you can see that this just runs down, you know, behind the air filter, in between the air filter and the frame. Whereas on the Rocket 3, it's that way around. No, it's not, it's that way around. It's a door handle. So you can see it's the same position, but the way that it sits, and I can't demonstrate this because too well, because you can see there the electronic ignition black box had just been tie wrapped to the frame, and that's where the door handle would route. So basically, as I say, it would come out here. Yeah, if you imagine it's in that position, only sort of sat further back, so you can see that all this side here sits just inside the side panel and runs up here. So it comes out round the frame, up here, behind the ignition switch, round the frame again, and inside to there. Now, the thing is, this is a tube, and you can see there's no stub on this because this is a Trident backplate. The originals, there you go, had a stub on it. You cannot get these, no chance. But what we can do is we can sort of epoxy in a metal pipe that this could go onto if Rob wants to fit a proper one, and we'll move that. I don't know why it's there. The black box. There's loads of space here. We could sit it here somewhere and do it properly, and just maybe tie up it to that or something like that. But anyway, we'll tidy that up a bit so we can put a proper door handle on if we want to. Right, you see what I mean about this clutch cable routing. It's all over the place. It's in the damn way. But what we'll do now is we'll go ahead. We'll take the airbox off first, and all we have to do is undo two 7/16 AF by I think 3.5 bolts. You can just see them going through there from the gantry into the airbox. Just two of those. Take that off, and then that gives us loads of wiggle room once we undo the hoses to take the carbs off, which is what we'll do now. Oh, and just to digress, while I've got the parts book open here, there's the original sort of shaped rear seat bracket where this went on to the bolts on the inside of the frame for the top of the shock absorbers, not on the outside. Just to tidy that one up. But so we're not going to change that because Rob's made that modification, and actually it's a sensible one because the seat is so much easier to remove. So cheers for that, Rob. Right, back onto removing carbs. Right, airbox off, and also I've been releasing the choke cable, which was held in by innumerable tie wraps, and you can see the 1:3 junction box is there, and that's what usually sticks. But that does mean we can now take the carb rack off just by undoing the hose clips at the front here, and the whole lot should come off. I've also, while I've been at it, and with the same spanner, 7/16 AF, taken off the silencers and the front pipes. As you can see, all you have to do is undo the two bolts here and undo that little clamp there, and then you can sort of take them off in situ in one great piece, and it's dead easy. Just in case you're wondering, then all the parts are going in these boxes. The tank is at the bottom there, well wrapped up with the side panels and shielded by the seat. The rest of the stuff will go in here. Airbox is in there already. Right, let's get the carbs off. And today I'm interested in beginning to see if the jetting, etc., is correct. I'm sure it is, before we strip them totally. Anyway, let's get them off first. Right, they're on the bench. So let's have a quick check of a few things internally. So what we'll do is we'll take these damn awful fuel pipes off with these Jubilee clips, and then we'll release the top hats, and then we'll undo the nuts for the carbs, and we take each body off one at a time and have a quick initial inspection. Right, I'll get on with that. Right then, carbs basically stripped, and all is well, really. I think there's one observation, but we'll come back to that in a sec. So firstly, the carbs were nice and secure on the gantry. All the carbs have got their O-ring in. The hoses and the clamps were nice and tight, so there weren't any air leaks, I don't think. The carbs are, as you'd expect, brand new. I think Rob's done a total of 19 miles on this bike since it was restored. The carbs are brand new. They're Premier carbs, So we know they're the latest. So the way you can tell these easily is if you go to the reverse side of the pilot air adjustment screw, and you'll see there's this little brass screw here where it's normally a blank on the first carbs, and that's because this screw on the end of this is the pilot jet. So it's removable, so you can clean it, whereas with the original carbs they were cast in the main bodies and a pig to get out if they were gummed up, which is why you need the ultrasonic cleaner. Let me just take one out and I'll show you if you've not seen one before. So there you go. It's not just, sorry, it's just slipped in my fingers. It's not just a blanking plug into the cavity where the pilot jet sits. The pilot jet's actually on the end of it. There it is. Get it to focus. So beautifully simple to check if that's clear or not. So these are premiers, so they've got all the latest gizmos. We've got ethanol resistant floats. We've probably got Viton tipped needles. We've got the latest slides. I don't know quite what these are coated in actually, but they're to prevent them wearing. So I think the carbs are all good. Check that all the jets are tight, etc. We'll go around and take them apart just to make sure there's no dirt particles got into one of the jet holes. But I think we're all good there. The only observation is these slides are 3.5, and the original spec for Rocket 3 is a 3, so it's going to run a little tiny bit leaner, and that probably will affect the tick over pilot screw adjustment as well. So that's an observation. It's not necessarily bad. I don't run 3.5s, I run 3s because I want the engine to run a little bit richer and cooler, to be honest, and as I say, 3 is spec. So that's an observation which is worth a consideration, but other than that I think we're all good. And what I'll do is, as I say, just go around. I will take the jets out just to check them, but I don't expect to find anything. Everything's absolutely clean as a whistle, so certainly I'm not going to go to the extent of ultrasound. It'd be a waste of time. There was something else there I was going to mention, and oh yeah, in fact the only thing we've potentially got to do is, because Rob wants to go to a choke lever mounted on the side of the gantry, then we've got to split the junction box, take off the long cable. The 3 cables here to the carbs themselves will stay. We're just going to put a shorter cable on this end, and he's supplied that and a bracket to go on the gantry, etc. So we'll do all that when we put these back together. But that's where we are for now, and I'll probably leave it there for this video. So we're into it now, Rob. No turning back, and you can see we're dripping oil already. So probably tomorrow I'll take a bit of a look underneath, see if we can identify where it's running before it gets too much. Oh yeah, this is the other thing I was going to mention. So as I had the clippers and I was starting to take some of these awful tyre wraps off, I took the tyre wrap off that was holding the black box for the electronic ignition so it could release the space there, and I put the door handle in. So that's how it fits. So you can see from the engine breather, back of the tube, the side, this goes obviously inside the side panel, back through the other side of frame tube and out to where it would attach to the air filter. So if that's all right, Rob, we'll use that, because I think the other lash up probably was there originally, but if anybody's been messing about with it, it's fallen apart. But I don't know where the middle bit's gone. Right. That's me for now. Back again soon to carry on. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Thanks for your interest. Any comments and subscriptions. See you all again soon, when we need to prep pretty quickly for the forthcoming NEC Classic Motor Show in less than a week. Cheers, everyone.